Can you start by briefly describing your background? What motivated you to choose to go to the STEM field? What has your career or learning journey been like so far?
Okay, so I took the science subject. I studied the science subject in my secondary school, and then after taking the public exam, then I entered Hong Kong Baptist College in the old days. It's not university as well at that time. So at that time, the result I got, I can just get into the science subject because in the old days, it's easier to get into the science program instead of other social science or other medical program. So I just chose the applied biology in the Hong Kong Baptist College and study the applied biology program. So after graduation, I got the degree. After the graduation, I looked for the job, and this is the first job, or this was the first job I found available in that time in the department. So that's why before they advertised the job in the newspaper or somewhere else, I learned this job opportunity from my ex-colleagues, and so I just directly go to ask the department head and told him I'm interested in this job. So we just talked briefly before I formally applied for the job. So I think afterwards they have recorded in the somewhere in the newspaper or I'm not sure where is the formal channel. But anyway, I submitted the application and then go through the interview. So I got the job.
Okay.
So I start to do this job right immediately after my graduation, since many years ago.
Yes.
So
okay.
that's I just so during the time when I was working, and I took a part-time master course, the environmental management, something like that. So it's a part-time master of science program. And then that's it.
Okay, thank you. Have you ever experienced any form of gender inequality in your career or study? If so, can you share a specific experiences or challenge?
All days when it was in my time, the chances to get into the university is rather low. In the old days, only the top 5% of the students can get into the universities in Hong Kong. And in the old days, we don't have the other sub-degree program like the associate degree or something else. We just either you retake the public exam, or you go directly to work instead of getting the chance to go into the universities. But afterwards, the government policy changed, so they increased a lot of the university vacancies, so the student can have more chances to get into the public university. And because in that times only very few can get into the universities, so those are mostly the top students, and especially in the science field, the top students are mostly boys, because maybe they are much clever or they can do better in the science subject. So in the old days, all of our classmates, but the class size in that days, I think in my in my Form 6 and 7, during the matriculation, that time, in the class, I think it's around the class size of about 30 students. Out of the 30 students, I think in the science class, only 1/3 are the girls and the rest are the boys. So in that time, it's already not half boys, half girls. And then when you get into the universities, usually, even though the girls can get into the university, they will study the art subject, the language subjects, or some other social science subject. And there are fewer, much fewer, or much less female or girls get into the science program. So if I remember correctly, in year 1, I think around in our class, we have about less than 40 students, around 30 something, and only around less than 10 are girls. But it's very
So
different
true.
from now, right now,
Yeah,
because later on, the change of the education system and the syllabus, and also the public exam format, and the requirement for getting into the university has been changed. They focused on the language requirement, right? Because they asked them to have the, no matter the Chinese and the English language, they need to reach minimum level 3, right? So that's the point of changing, the critical point of changing. That's what we know, because during that time, girls have higher language ability than the boys. So right now you can see in the same class, more girls than boys. It's very different from our days. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And do you think that experience are common among the other women in your field?
So I just point out that this is because of the education system. So it favors boys in the old days, but nowadays it favors the girls. But in my job field, I don't really feel much difference between boys and girls. So as long as you have the ability to do your job, then you can get your job.
And if you have experienced both academic and professional environments in your STEM field, have you noticed that gender inequality manifests itself differently in these two environments?
So I don't really think it's resulted, the inequalities is resulted from gender. It's only because of the education system. Before they enter the field, it's already separate them into or favor the boys or girls in the old days. So that's why the number becomes imbalanced. And but once they get into the field, I don't think there is much inequality.
Okay. Then I think that's all of the questions, and thank you for your participation.
Okay.
Thank you.